Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Monday afternoon, maybe morning, something like that. Noon is when I'm gonna drop this video. But this is gonna be the recap for the entire race weekend of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Interlagos, and we're gonna start off here with Ollie Behrman, who ended up replacing Kevin Magnussen in originally was supposed to be just for FP1. He was gonna do it regardless, and then Magnussen turned out not feeling well, so they had him sub in for the sprint as well. And then he ended up just replacing him for the entire weekend, so that was pretty nice. Now, coming back to FP1, you had Liam Lawson, who had a very funny moment with Checo on track, where I'm pretty sure he like passed him like really aggressively or cut him off or something. Because I really didn't watch FP1 like too in depth, but he was asking on the radio if that was Checo, because you guys know how I went down in Mexico, and that was absolutely hilarious. So I mean, I was just like, damn. I wonder how he'd act like in the actual race, and I'm pretty sure there was a really nice fight between the two in the Grand Prix. And funny enough, I mean, I'll get to that later, but his interaction with Max was very, very different compared to how it was with Checo. But yeah, that like I really found this absolutely funny. I mean, just hilarious, man. So next we got the sprint qualifying, which started same on Friday, same day as the practice. So obviously, if you guys don't know, when there's a sprint, there's no FP2 or 3, so they gotta rush everything up, and they don't really have a lot to test, so a lot of time to test. So you got them all lined up over here. Um, Unfortunately, in SQ1 we had Alonso going out along with Tsunoda, which was a pretty big surprise, and you could see the rest down there. It was really sad seeing Alonso struggle this weekend. I mean, I really really unfortunate. He's such a great driver, and I just wish like I really hope next year or in 2026 when Newey's there, they come back on top. I mean, the 2023 starts like season start had like a really good car, but then their ceiling was just like insanely low for the rest of the season. You had Hamilton getting disqualified from SQ2, or not disqualified, sorry, eliminated. That was just unfortunate. And same thing, like really tough weekend for him. I mean, just like Alonso, I was just like, I mean, I really like Hamilton. I'm a Sebastian Vettel fan. I mean, you can see like the arm over here, but he's obviously not on the grid anymore. I am also a Ferrari fan, so I'm really happy to see him join Ferrari next year. But man, like I just wish he had a better car this season. So here you got Lando Norris taking pole position almost until he gets robbed by his teammate Piastri, which was crazy to me. But yeah, he pulled out like pace out of literally nowhere. But yeah, so he took pole position, or the sprint pole position, what do you want to call it. Max couldn't make the time for that. And yeah, so it was really nice seeing Piastri yoink the pole. I mean, like as much as I'm like a Lando Norris, like I mean I wasn't a fan of him, but like I was really enjoying how like somebody's finally contesting like Max for this like top spot. But yeah, so he got pole position for the sprint, which was really nice to see. Man, like Lando just he doesn't always have it, not every weekend. But the McLarens really did seem like very strong around this circuit. So I was expecting a lot from them for the race, but I stand corrected, and you guys are gonna see right now. So these were the sprint quali standings over here. If you guys want to take a look, this was before the race actually started, or not the race, but like the sprint race. And then this happened on the first turn, first lap of the race. So when I seen this, I was like I got a heart attack. I thought Max was about to take Lando out. Leclerc was about to crash into them. I was like, yo, this is like insane. But thankfully he saved it. But yeah, he sent it into turn one, right on the first lap. And I thought that that was it, but thank God it wasn't. And then later on in the race, you had Leclerc and Max kind of battling it out. Leclerc kind of holding him up a bit. And this would have been the perfect opportunity for McLaren to swap drivers. Now, keep in mind, at this time, you know, we have contention for the drivers' championship as well as the constructors for Ferrari versus McLaren. But specifically for the drivers, Lando still was in contention. And every point mattered, and McLaren knew that. So they were planning on executing a drive swap. But this right here would have been the perfect opportunity because Max is behind Leclerc, fighting it out. It would have been perfect. And look at the gap. You can see it here. And they're coming up after turn one. It would be perfect. So this happens. and Nico Hulkenberg goes off the track. He has like he doesn't go off he actually like intentionally drives off track because he has like an exhaust issue or something like that, and he can't move it. And it's not in a very dangerous section of the track because there's not really much overtaking over there. It's not very high speed. However, if somebody were to lose control on that corner for any reason, let's say Logan Sargent was driving and he just decided to lose control right there. He could have absolutely destroyed the Haas of Nico Hulkenberg and took Nico with him out as well if he was coming from here and just slid into him. I mean, again, it's unlikely due to like the area of the track, but you never know what could happen. And like when I seen this like picture right here on like when I was watching the race live, I was like, how have they not called a safety car yet? Like that's actually insane. He's walking on the track and there's like cars just actively passing like through a yellow flag, but like not an actual safety car. So it was a little suspicious. I'm pretty sure that it went on for like 2 minutes until they actually called a safety car, and that ended up happening after the driver swapped. So it did seem a little fishy that like after almost 2 minutes the drivers finally swap, so they like call it because they want to stay on the safe side. They don't want to let like the race end in a virtual safety car or a safety car with Lando in the back, because then they obviously can't swap positions under a safety car or a virtual one. So they do that, and yeah, it was really suspicious. But I mean, not it didn't. Really, I think it got overlooked. I mean, it didn't really like nothing really happened after. This was your standings, and then funny enough, this wasn't actually the final like piece of the like top 8. So you see Leclerc here in 4th and Max in 3rd. So after the race, Max is summoned to the stewards, and that's for this here. Let's open it. The driver alleged breach of whatever, failing to stay above the minimum time set by the FIA ECU during the VSC ending at 11:31. So if you guys were watching the race, Max was like pretty far behind Piastri. And then during the safety car or virtual safety car, Max closed up the gap like so fast, which under a VSC, it's not the same as a safety car with everyone bunches up. No, everyone has to follow their delta. So you wouldn't be able to close up a gap that quick. And right when it ends, Max absolutely sends it, but a little bit before it actually ends. And he's right up next to Piastri like this here. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, yo, he wasn't that close to him before the VSC. So how is he all of a sudden right behind him? And then now I was thinking like when he got summoned to the stewards, it was because of like him maybe like being bad on the timing, which honestly I still looked like he was. He did back off though because you can't overtake under a safety car or a VSC. But yeah, so it turns out that like he made up all that time by just being like extremely quick during the VSC and not staying during his delta. And yeah, so Max was pretty upset for the whole he wasn't upset about the like being summoned to the stewards, but he was really upset about the whole thing, why it took so long for the safety car or VSC to come out. Because like I mean realistically, like I said, it was really nonsense how long they took to bring it out. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty unfortunate for him. There's nothing else he could have really done. And then after that, he does get handed a 5-second time penalty for that. So it does drop him behind Leclerc instead of being in 3rd. So he doesn't actually finish on the podium during the sprint. He finishes in 4th. So that's what I meant by you got a little twist to that. Now you have rumors, which like this would be pretty nice to see, but signs to Red Bull, which was rumored before he ended up signing the Williams contract, but signs to Red Bull and then Colapinto to Williams. So if they somehow sort it out to say, you know what, I mean, they already signed a contract, so I don't know really how that would work, but signs would like, let's say, just terminate that contract somehow, and then they'd sign Colapinto to Williams because they already have him there now and they want him in the future for sure. And then Sainz could move over to Red Bull, which already was in talks beforehand. And now, more than ever, Perez looks like he's going to be out of that seat. So, like, I mean, I'd be surprised if he's not next year. We did have quali postponed, and like I was sitting there for so long waiting for them to start that session, man. It was really unfortunate, but yeah, like we had to wait till the next day pretty much. And then finally Lewis Hamilton got to drive Ayrton Senna's McLaren, and I think that was supposed to be on the quali day as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong though. But yeah, it was really nice to see that and hear it. Like they had it on the pre-race show on the F1 TV app. If you guys did miss that, dude, it was really nice. So quali starts on Sunday morning, extremely early, and there was just so many like moments from drivers, and we ended up getting a red flag from Colapinto going into the barriers, unfortunately. Man, it was really sad to see him go out. He was in ninth too. Like, and it's like, he has a lot of people. It's not a home crowd, but like he has a really good amount of people in the crowd that are rooting for him because Brazil is like the closest to Argentina, not Argentina. Where is he from? No, he is Argentinian. Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty unfortunate for him. Hamilton out in Q1. That was so unfortunate to see. I mean, it was coming. Like he had such a hard time all weekend throughout practice, the sprint quality, and everything. I had a feeling like he wasn't really gonna do that great this race. And I mean, Russell did really well, which kind of surprised me that like Hamilton couldn't get up there. But I mean, I don't know. It was just really sad to see. But yeah, he was really struggling, and he was saying how bumpy the track was. A lot of drivers were reporting that. But yeah, so Hamilton was. I mean, here you don't see it yet. It says 14th, but Norris ended up barely making it as well. By the way, so Norris had you could see a really slow sector one. So he was barely gonna make it out of the bottom 15. But yeah, Hamilton ended up being, you see, he's not here, so he was eliminated. And we had a crash from Carlos Sainz in Q2, which was just heartbreaking because he did win last week in Mexico, and I really wanted to see him just, have some contention for the win, or at least the podium places. So yeah, he did crash out here, which was very sad. In Q2, towards the end of the session, Lance Stroll crashes, and he crashes close to when they would just like call off the session. They'd say we're not going to resume the session because it's like close to finishing. And unfortunately, Max was behind Stroll. So when Stroll crashed and they put out yellow flags, Max had to slowly let off before he went for his actual lap, because I'm pretty sure Lance went off around like turn one, the center S's or something like that, by like turn one ish or whatever. And Max couldn't get a lap in, like a good one, and or Perez obviously. But yeah, so he was out from that issue. Like Max ended up out in Q2 because he couldn't set a fast enough lap. So yeah, here you could see Max in 12th out in Q2, and don't forget he had the 5th place grid penalty, so he didn't actually start in 12th. He started in 17th. So really big disadvantage, but yeah, so you see Perez in 13th, Sainz in 14th. I mean, in that other image, Leclerc was also back there, but he did end up making it out of the bottom 5. So then in Q3, you have Lando flying, like literally, like flying, and really flawless drive, to be honest, in the quality for the wet. And I mean, this was a pretty good surprise too, with Alex Albon being in second until he crashes. And I mean, this was just crazy. And it was so crazy to the point where, don't forget, they had quali on Sunday. It was early in the morning due to the, like, postponing or whatever. And they couldn't fix the car enough in time for the race. So he was disqualified from quali, and not disqualified, but like out of quali, and then disqualified from the race, unfortunately. So, or technically DNS'd, did not start, if that's what they say. I'm pretty sure. So we're about to start the race, and obviously, formation lap like every other race, and Lance Stroll just loses it on the first turn at with the formation lap, and he hits the barriers. He backs up, and then decides to just drive into the gravel. I mean, I have no clue why this driver is still on the grid, but yeah, he literally just backs off the wall. The car is kind of intact, and he turns around and just literally drives right into the gravel. I have no idea why, But yeah, I mean, like you guys could see this. He literally just drove into it and then got beached, obviously. But yeah, so he did that. Not a really big surprise from someone like Stroll, but yeah, it was just hilarious. I mean, you could see the onboard footage. I was just so confused. And then you have Lando Norris being investigated for a race start infringement or a starting procedure infringement, whatever you want to call it. And pretty much you could see here everyone lined up. The lights aren't green. And you see Lando, Russell, I think that's Lando and Russell. Yeah, Lando, Russell, and I think that's Tsunoda. They drive off when they say aborted start. Now, I never heard that before. Or like maybe I have. I never really I don't remember what that procedure is. And pretty much what it is that the pit crew and everyone just come outside again, I'm pretty sure, and like put the blankets back on, etc., whatever. They thought they got to do another formation lap and come back around. So that was being investigated, and then they said they're gonna come up with a result after the race. So till now, like at the time of recording this, we still don't have a verdict on that. So there's a very big chance that there might be like penalties given for the top three. All the first it was just Lando being investigated, but now it's the top three. Like not the top three now, but like those three of like the whatever. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention Tsunoda did a really well job in qualifying, coming in P3. So that was a very big shock. I forgot to mention that. So the race gets underway, and you could see what's it called? What's his name? Tsunoda back there. You have Ocon. Just keep him in mind real quick. He did qualify in P4. That was really well as well. You have a lot of like insane, like Liam Lawson right there as well. But yeah, so Lando and Russell. Lando's on pole, and he loses it on the first turn. Not a big surprise. And then you see Ocon take it over here. I'm pretty sure he did get the pass done, but yeah. So Russell takes the lead from Norris on the first lap. As usual, he loses it. I mean, that's not really a big surprise. Sainz unfortunately did start in the pit lane because of all the damages. They ended up replacing the PU. And Max was making insane progress through the field. Like he was like, look at how far ahead. Remember, he started P17, and here he was already on the gearbox of Lewis Hamilton. So I was like, damn, like that Red Bull has pace, and we haven't really seen that this past weekends. So it was really shocking. He ended up catching Charles Leclerc, and he was fighting him like lap after lap, and Leclerc was putting on an amazing defensive fight. What a show to watch these two go wheel to wheel. I mean, like 2022, man, I'd go back to Bahrain of that year. Oh my God, it was just amazing seeing that like back to back to back to back fighting between the two. I hope we see something like that next year. After like all that fighting, Leclerc ends up pitting. You don't really see him here in the image because he ends up going to the pits. Max has a little bit of a gap over here to make. He ends up catching the two. And then that's Leclerc pitting, a pretty decent pit. He goes on another set of inters, and then you have Nico Hulkenberg with another moment, unfortunately, goes off the track and is beached because, like, I mean, you could kind of see, like, the car is kind of like, like in the middle, so it's like levitating, and you can't like the wheels won't move the car pretty much. It's pretty much stuck because it's like a little banked corner, and in this case scenario the marshals got to come and move the car and get him out of the way because he literally can't, which they do. They move him, but like usually they do this and bring him off the track, or like, you know, like he can't go back and race. So he ends up getting a black flag, which is something we haven't seen in what's it called, Formula One in like years. I'm pretty sure like 2007 was the last time we got a black flag in Formula One. Like, I was shocked. But yeah, so he got that, and was disqualified from the race. So I mean, yeah, like once the marshals come and touch the car, that's it. You're out of the race. I mean, you can't really continue because you like outside assistance is not allowed. Because of that, like during the time that it was for the marshals to what's it called, like move the car, there was a virtual safety car, and then when they got Nico Hulkenberg to move, the virtual safety car ended. So obviously we all know that the drivers don't really know exactly when the virtual safety car is going to end. It just says it's ending, so they got to know. And for some reason Russell and Lando who were in the lead, like first and second, decided to pit while they seen it ending. And yeah, they come into the pits and get a new set of tires on, and it wasn't even like the wets, it was just Inters again. I mean, I wasn't really expecting the wets, but it was like, it was so strange that they both came into the pits and they were leading while they knew that the safety car was ending, which ended up just letting Ocon and Max and Gasly just run away with it pretty much. And like, when I seen this, I was like, wow, like what a waste. I mean, it is unfortunate because maybe they didn't make like the timing right or something like that, so it's kind of like luck or unlucky. But yeah, so Esteban Ocon takes the lead of the race, or a net lead at the time, technically. So a net first, Max is net second, Gasly's net third, because none of the three have pit yet. And when Lando and George get out, Lando passes George really easily. He made it seem flawless. I mean, I'm pretty sure George was like kind of like not really on the throttle much, but yeah. So Lando had like really good bravery over here because he did brake really hard at the end of the turn as well. So that was nice to see. And then we had another crash from Franco Colapinto, very unfortunate, which first caused a safety car, but then literally right after they called it out as a red flag, which made a lot more sense. I mean, I was like, there's no way this is a safety car. And it was like oozing a bunch of like fluid from the car, from the radiator and stuff. So they definitely had to clear that off the track because that's a really big hazard. And this red flag meant that Max and the top three would be able to change their tires without having to pit. So that net first, second, third became an actual first, second, third, which is really bad for Lando and Russell, of course, and so on. So they get going again, and we end up having a moment with Carlos Sainz. Really unfortunate. He crashed in qualifying. He crashed in the race. And we had another safety car. So like this race was just unbelievable. It really had everything. And you had another safety car which had them, line up again all after each other. And you had the safety car restart. So Esteban Ocon, again, in the lead. He broke away from the pack pretty well over here on the restart. And you see Max over here trailing behind. I mean, he had a decent gap, but Max had a really good reaction. Lando with Leclerc right on him. This was not a really good impression. And Russell did overtake Lando before this happened again, which is pretty hilarious. But this happened. Now, forget this for a second. Max took the lead right from Ocon, which was just really crazy. And when I seen this happen, I was like, yeah, like Max is about to walk away with this. And again, as much as this video might sound like I'm a Max fan, I wasn't. I mean, I'm not he's not my like favorite driver. Again, Vettel is, but he's not on the grid anymore. I think Leclerc would probably be my favorite driver along with Hamilton. But I really admire Max's work so much more after watching today's race, and I'm sure a lot of you probably do as well. But Lando over here, you could see him already losing control, and right behind Russell. It would have been crazy if he took Russell out, but he lost control right here, and that's Piastri behind him. And he just goes off the track, loses so many positions. I think he ends up dropping to like 7th. And then Max takes the lead, like super easy, like it's nothing. And he just walks away with the win by like, I think like 19, 18 seconds or something like that, maybe 20 even. And then they ended up swapping positions. I mean, you could see here, Lando ends up in 6th, Piastri's in 8th. Piastri actually was 7th. But he ended up having a 10-second time penalty for just going straight into Liam Lawson in one of the laps, which is just hilarious. He just slingshotted right into him. And then after the race, Lando went and said that he drove well and got lucky to Max. He didn't tell Max that, but like he was just saying that that was Max's race. And I was like, that's kind of unfortunate to say. Like, come on, he did insanely good, and he has so much talent in the rain. Like I already knew that Max was gonna like do insanely well even starting P17. I didn't think the race would go on like the way that it did. Like so unexpected. Like I knew there was going to be a big point swing like from like to Lando, not to Max, but it was the complete opposite. Like Lando absolutely was destroyed. Like the championship fight gone. Like we had one, that's it. Like, I'm pretty sure by next race, Max just needs to maintain the lead to Lando by 60 points, and he's crowned champion in Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure. So like, I mean, he totally deserves it. After today's drive, Max did end up also getting driver of the day. So like, man, after seeing today's drive, it's just like he definitely deserves this world championship this year for a fourth time. And I absolutely can't wait for Las Vegas in like a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, we do have like 3 weeks of a break, so I will be posting some content every now and then throughout this little break that we have again. So that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe with post notifications on so you don't miss out on any of these uploads and all the news and everything that drops, because I'm going to keep you guys posted on all that. And that's all I got, like I said. So take care, talk soon, and I'll see you guys when the 5 lights go out.